Okay, so today we're going to do Unit 2, Day 18 notes, which is looking at standard form and then taking that standard form of a linear equation and converting it to slope-intercept form. So the standard form of a line is basically ax plus by equals c. Now you need to understand that if you ever get this form, you need to go from this form to the y equals mx plus b, because standard form is no good, slope-intercept form is good, okay? So let's look at a couple examples so we can see how we can solve for this. Now, example 1. Let's go from this to y equals mx plus b. So anytime you're doing that, you're basically just solving for y. So what that means is y has to be by itself, okay? So you have to move everything away from the y. Just like you used to with the equations where you had to solve for x and you had to move everything away from x, this time you have to move everything away from the y. So let's start with the minus 4x. To move it away from the y, I have to jailbreak it to the other side. So the minus 4x becomes a plus 4x. So I'm left with 2y equals 8 plus 4x. Then I'm still solving for y, but there's a 2 in front of the y. So the best thing I need to do is do the opposite of multiplying by 2. So I will divide by 2. So I'm left with y equals. Now you have this big fraction. Instead of leaving it as a big fraction, I'm going to break this apart into two smaller fractions. So I'm going to do 8 over 2, and then I'm going to do plus 4x over 2. So basically, the top numbers gets its own 2 as the denominator. So now I can simplify. 8 plus 2 is 4. 4x divided by 2 is 2x. So that's an answer, as you can tell. Or if you want to rewrite it where the 2x is at the front and the constant is at the back, that's perfectly fine. But as you can tell, we have converted it into slope-intercept form. Okay? And you can tell that the slope is 2 and the y-intercept is 4. Okay, example 2. Same idea, I'm converting it to slope-intercept form. So the first thing I need to do is move the x with the coefficient. So the opposite of plus 18 is a minus 18x. So I'm left with 6y equals 6 minus 18x. The opposite of multiplying by 6 is to divide by 6. So y equals, I'm going to break this into two fractions. So each top number gets its own denominator, which will be a 6. Now I can simplify. 6 divided by 6 is 1, minus 18x divided by 6 is 3x. So of course you can leave it like this, or you can rewrite it. But if you're going to rewrite it, make sure that the correct symbols are with the correct number. And if you notice, this 3 is a negative because there's a minus in front of it. So if I'm going to move it to the front, make sure there's a negative 3x, that there's a negative in front of the 3. And this 1, there's no symbol in front of it. So that means it's positive. So I'm going to make it a plus 1. So there you go. You can either do 1 minus 3x, or you can do negative 3x plus 1. Okay, number 3. First thing I need to do is move the 33x over to the other side. So that becomes a minus 33x. I'm left with negative 11y equals 99 minus 33x. Then the opposite of multiplying by negative 11 is to divide by negative 11. So y equals 99 over negative 11 minus 33x over negative 11. So I'm left with 99 divided by negative 11 is negative 9. And then negative 33x divided by negative 11 is positive 3x. And of course, you can rewrite this, or you can leave it like that. But if you rewrite it, make sure that the 3x is positive and the 9 is negative. So when you rewrite it, you can write it as 3x minus 9. And there's your result for that one. Okay. For number 4, you can do that by yourself. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me in class the next day. Let's look at number 5. Now, the first thing I would like to do is get rid of the parentheses. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 4y is positive 8y equals negative 8. Now I can continue with my regular steps. Move the x over to the other side, so that becomes a plus 2x. So I'm left with 8y equals negative 8 plus 2x. Then the opposite of multiplying by 8 is to divide by 8. So y equals this big fraction, so I'm going to break it apart. So negative 8 plus 2x on the top, and then on the bottom of each, it's going to be a positive 8. So now, let's simplify. Y equals negative 1 plus 2 over 8 is the same thing as 1/4 x. Or you could have just done 0.25x. It will be your choice. Now, if you rewrite it, you can do y equals 1/4 x minus 1. Okay, so those two are the same thing. It's just depending on which one came first. Now, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask me tomorrow in class. But you can also try number 6 by yourself. It's exactly just like the one we just did, okay?